Oh, two streams in one day. What in the heck is going on? Hey y'all, YouTube. Good Lord, how y'all doing? It's your boy Mike. I'm here. This is my channel, Solid State Alchemy. We're in my basement. We're also in the underbelly of the YouTube algorithm. And we're live streaming for the second time in one day. And I'm going to try to get a fan in the front of this case. I got a table full of crap, so bear with me while I just clean this off here. Wanted to get the stream started and double check on like the stream quality and all that good jazz. And I was also just down here like jamming, straight jamming on some Rocket League for a while on this Dell XPS 8300 that I upgraded. That was a good time playing Rocket League. I did the live stream just to go over like how well the PC performs, and I had a good time playing Rocket League on just like the first match. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play that some more. And I've already got this hard drive in this PC. Let's just like fire it up and do it again. So I came back down here and I played some more Rocket League, and it was it was a sweet time. I had a good time. Scored a few goals, you know. Yeah, definitely enjoyed myself. No shame in that. So now it's got time to, kind of put away the accoutrement, as it were, for the gamins, and make this work table work. Make this work table work for modifying this here PC chassis. Now, unfortunately, I am going to have to like break it down, all the way down, get all this junk out of here, because what I don't want to have happen while I grind on the computer chassis here, the case chassis, is get some metal shards, conductive metal shards, down into or out into the motherboard or hard drive or GPU or any of the components really in this PC, and have those short out later. So that is a bad deal all the way around, right? Trying to do a good thing by upgrading your computer and wind up doing a really, really terrible thing by basically destroying at least one component of your computer. You know, if you get them into the, if you get those metal shards down into your power supply and it goes south, it can take several components with it. Motherboards too, known for taking CPUs down with the ship. Well, this is not the motherboard's fault. I had a bad CPU. I had a fake CPU actually. I bought on on eBay. Said it was an 8600K or a 9700K. I don't remember. It said it was some flavor of Intel, and basically they had just put an IHS, the top heatsink cover, on the CPU. I popped it into a very expensive motherboard, and it killed the motherboard because it was fake. It was like an i7 7700K or less, like maybe an i5 7500 series. And yeah, that was a bad day. I was very, very, very upset at that eBay seller, and I did, I believe, wind up getting his account suspended, and I got my money back for the CPU, but unfortunately I did not get my money back for the motherboard that the fake CPU ruined. And I tell all that again, if you've been on this channel before, you've probably heard me tell that story before. I tell that story just to say that components can definitely daisy chain down the line and kill off more than one thing. Just because you killed off the motherboard or the power supply with a metal chip doesn't mean the power supply won't in turn kill off whatever it's connected to. Alright, let's get the side panel off here. Side panel's off. So we're going to have to strip this down fairly far, I believe. So, I mean, I kind of want you guys to see this, but at the same time, this is not like earth-shattering stuff, right? This is not like something you couldn't look up on several dozen YouTube videos and see how to unhook a SATA cable from a hard drive or SATA power from a hard drive. So this is just like my temporary, well, this is a temporary drive for this PC, but this is my my test bench 3.5 inch hard drive. This is a Seagate FireCuda hybrid solid state and hard drive together. Put it back over there where it's nice and safe. And then we will take this Gigabyte GTX 770 2 gig WindForce Cooling Edition GPU that has been trying to breathe all of its fresh air through this one port in the side of the case panel here, which is actually not a bad gig all the way around. That's, I mean, it is. I mean, I can, you know, breathe straight through that. It's pretty wide open honeycomb, and you can see straight through it. You know, it's actually not the worst setup you can give a GPU in a pre-built. And of course I can't get to the, oh no, there it is. Yep, alright. I can get to the tab for the PCIe release. It's got to shove in that way, and then it's going to come out this way. We'll get these PCIe power connectors off here. That's 8 and a 6 pin. This computer only comes with 2 6-pins, but I put an adapter on here to get us from 6-pin to 8-pin. Seems to be working fine. And then I'm going to, next I'm going to take the hard drive cage out. Now these, overall, these instructions will be good for, or this kind of like, this procedure will work for most XPS 8000 series desktop towers, right? They, almost all of them come apart in a very, very similar fashion. So that hard drive case is going to come out of there, and this is not going to come back. You're not going to reinsert that hard drive cage into this PC. Let's get the motherboard out. And what's kind of interesting about this motherboard, I guess this is like just a cost-saving measure again. Most pre-builts are just about, you know, or a lot of their decision-making processes for the OEM systems is, how do I save, you know, 3 cents on a length of pipe, basically, on a length of cord, on a connector, on a screw, whatever. how can I save some money on something? So it's interesting. This motherboard is held down with the exact same screws that secure everything else in this PC. Same screws that secure the hard drive, same screws that secure the PCIe slot covers, which is basically like kind of a universal screw, but most of the time in the DIY space, you see this screw reserved for PCIe slot covers and power supplies, and rarely is this screw type used for motherboards. This is a large pan head Phillips head screw. I don't remember the exact dimensions of these guys. They're considerably larger and probably like more expensive, honestly, than what is usually used in the DIY space, which is a very small metric machine screw, probably at least 1 to 2 metric sizes smaller than this, and has a very small. Let me see if I can. I have them. I have them in abundance, actually. Yeah. So, don't know how well that will translate on camera, but here is the motherboard screw. This is the only screw that I've found that I've encountered so far, is this silver screw, quite large, and this is generally the size that is used in DIY applications for power supplies and PCIe connectors. And then this little guy right here, this little black fellow, is a small metric panhead machine screw, and I don't remember the exact size, but you can see the size difference, right? So this is what you usually find to put motherboards, to connect them to the motherboard tray on most DIY applications. And then here's this gigantic Dell XPS screw head and screw body that is being used for basically all of the screw applications in an XPS. Now again, I don't know if it's because they were just like, hey, you know, it's cheaper, easier, it's faster on the assembly line. If all of the screws are the same, I got nothing. I wasn't there 10 years ago, 11 years ago when they built this computer, or when they decided on the manufacturing tolerances of this computer. But it definitely is completely and almost entirely, like I said, I haven't found a screw yet that was not one of these. Actually, well, I'll take that back. I'm staring at 2 of them now. So evidently, the 2 screws that hold in the 5 1/4 inch optical drive are not these large panhead screws. Who knew? I don't know why. I don't know why it is like it is, but that is how it do. So we're going to get the motherboard out of here. We're going to get the power supply out of here. And I'm going to get that optical drive out of here. And then we are going to we're going to take the front fascia off the case. And then I'm going to cut, I think, 2 tabs of metal that are turned inward. I got to take the Wi-Fi card leads off here. Oh, I hate these things, man. really hate these little tiny little, I don't know, they're not BNC connectors because you don't push and twist. I don't know what they are. They're tiny little Wi-Fi adapter connectors, and they are super fragile and super hard to get back in where you want them to be. Oh man, this motherboard's like, oh, are you kidding me? Ew. Okay, so Gamers Nexus recently did a video about the Dell G5000 or something along those lines. It's a very recent video. They've been doing a bunch of pre-built videos, and Steve at Gamers Nexus, you know, Tech Jesus, as people like to call him because of his long hair, was like, oh my god, I can't believe that you're screwing the CPU heatsink like into the sidewall of the PC chassis. But that is, I don't know, I can't find a reason why this wouldn't come apart other than the fact that this is indeed screwed into the side wall of this PC chassis. I don't know. We'll see here in a second. So that one's out. That one's out. That one's out. Okay, taking this CPU cooler out for the second time this week. Oh, there's a couple screws under here that I didn't see. Oh, come on, get out of there. Okay. So, is this... Come on, guy. It's not. It's mounted to the motherboard. Okay, good. Alright, looks like we had a pretty decent mount. Alright, so I was wrong. CPU cooler is indeed not mounted to the chassis. So I'm going to remount this real fast to the board because I don't have a replacement cooler right now. I wish I did because it could use a few degrees. The repaste wasn't like perfect, flawless in the execution. However, it did net us a couple of degrees difference in when I was running the Cinnamon benchmark. But it could be better. In gaming, this thing is getting close to 80. It's a little bit above 80 degrees sometimes. And the fan just sounds like, you know, a lost soul traipsing across Scottish moors looking for a wayward traveler in the middle of the 19th century, 18th century, 16th century, who knows. But it sounds forlorn, to say the least. Would definitely not like to meet the fan whale on an open road at night. And okay, so we'll keep that together. That's all fine and good. So motherboard's out, GPU's out. Let's get this power supply out here. Again, these are all the exact same screws, which is like, you know, you don't need a fancy Gamers Nexus mod mat to keep track of these screws because they are all the bleeping same, except for the two that go with the optical drive that I haven't taken out just quite yet. Seems like it would be pretty easy to keep them all straight so far, because they are all the same screw. 4 screws for the power supply. Oh, so lovely feature of Dell power supply enclosures is, get the power supply cord off the back of this 5 1/4 optical drive here. So they have 2 tabs back here on the motherboard tray. There it goes. Just gotta kind of push them down, and then the power supply comes out. Hey, look, there's like a dead bug in there. That's always fun. That's super fun. I love it when there's dead bugs in computers. Yay! That's totally my favorite. Dead bug in the computer. Let's see. Where are you at? Come here, dead bug. Dead bug. He dead. He dead in the computer. Let's just put him over there for now. Okay. So that's all the componentry. Alright, so front fascia is 4 tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4. And easiest way to get this thing off of here is to get your fingers 1, 2, 3, 4 under those 4 tabs all at once, and then it will kind of hinge away to one side, and then just kind of like work it back and forth, and it will just all come off. And if I don't knock my tasty libation over, we'll all survive. Alright, this is a pretty dusty, crusty interior. I should have blown this out before I undertook this endeavor here. I don't know where either of these came from. Oh, these go on the back of the motherboard I/O. That's fine. All right. So all right. Let me show you what I'm dealing with here. The front of this case right here, you can see where this is like taped off, kind of black delimited right here, because this is what you can see sorta kinda through this open portal at the bottom of the front fascia. You can see this blacked out area of the chassis through this little portal, through this little hole. And this hole's it's a fairly wide mouth, and you can see through it, right? You can see the grate there, but it's a grate on another grate, and that's not great. Oh, the dad jokes on a Father's Day late night live stream coming over the top. So what would be the absolute best is to get like a 100mm hole saw, find the center of a 120mm fan body placement, and just hole saw right through all of this. Just cut it right through it, take that out, throw it away, Bob's your uncle, and away we go. But I don't have that luxury. I don't have a 100mm or any millimeter hole saw at my disposal right now. What I do have for $0, honestly, is a 140mm case fan from the nice folks at Fractal. They didn't give this to me. A local guy gave this to me for upgrading his case fans with and doing some cable management on his PC for him. he said, you can just keep those case fans from my old case, which I did. So this is a stock fractal case fan. I'm not sure what case, I don't remember what case this came out of, but I'm gonna see if we can fit him in here. So it does fit in the chassis. If you get these dang old, okay, if I can get those case wires out of the way here. So if I get it where it's aligned with some holes here, can I get it aligned with some holes? That's the question. There's a hole there. So maybe 140 is a bit aggressive. Maybe 140 is too much. Too big. Doesn't want to fit in there. Do I have a 120 mil that would be the same? Yeah, I got a 120 mil. I got an Arctic 120 mil, kind of the same deal. Upgrading fans for folks, upgrading PCs for folks. So this thing, okay, could probably just drill out a little bit of holes in some places here. Yeah, need to drill out a couple of holes for this guy to reside in. But the biggest thing is that there's a tab here that's pushed in, and there's a tab here that's pushed in that are not gonna let these fan blades rotate freely. So I definitely have to get rid of those tabs, and I'm going to, let me see if I can like detach the camera here. I'm going to move this forward, and then I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. And then I'm going to see if I can get the camera up a little bit closer so that you guys can see the tabs I'm talking about. So right here, this like, well, how would you describe this shape? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a tab that's pushed in right there where my finger's poking through. I'm going to grind it off. And then this tab right here is also pushed in, and I'm going to grind it off. And that should leave me a clean surface, a flat surface on the inside that these fans can rotate. And then, well, not fans, fan singular. Let's get you back on your home there. Okay. Fan singular should be able to go about its business. Oh, hey, I found the RAM clip. Let's put that over there. Okay. So I think the best way to go about this is from the inside. I'm going to go to the other side of my table now. It's tight quarters in here, in case you haven't noticed. So let's get our componentry away from where any metal shavings may be ejected from. Let's take a drink from from our tasty libation. Alright, so I couldn't find my legit safety goggles, but I do have some fairly transparent, what are these, Maui gems, and they don't knock down too much light. So I've got a Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel here. It goes up to 10,000 RPM. Probably keep it right around 8.5. Yep, that's gonna do it. And then let me move some more of this stuff out of the way here. Oh, please don't die, hard drive. Thank you. All right. So first, we want to get this. All right. Where did it go? This tab right here. We're gonna go for that like thumbnail looking tab. Okay, see how that looks here. Okay, there's still like a couple of sharp edges there that I probably will have to go over with like a hand file. But there is one larger projection sticking up. Because of the way this is kind of contained in the chassis, I'm going to go without the goggles just so I can get a little bit better view. I think that got it. Oh, close. Let's see. Alright. So here's the tab that I was trying to get rid of. It's very small, but it was definitely big enough to impede the spinning of that fan. Very small little tab on the inside of the front of the XPS 8300. Okay, so that's one impediment down. Now, this other one is quite a bit bigger, but I think it's actually going to be a little bit easier to get rid of because I just need to cut 2 tabs down. So let's see if I can do that. Seemed, woo, it's hot. It's very hot. Seemed a lot easier than I thought it was going to be even. So there's a little pop-up tab left in here, and I might be able to just like wiggle twist him off. Yep. So that is the indentation, I guess, that was going into the case that was stopping the fan from spinning. So let me just go ahead and test a fan here laying face down in the front of the chassis and see if it spins freely. It does. So if I can put a fan on this axis right here, then man, that was hot and that did burn my finger. Don't grab hot metal, kids. Then that will be mission accomplished, and this bad boy will have a front intake fan for the first time in its life, and it's going to be an Arctic 120 millimeter case fan. So now I need to figure out screw hole placement for this case fan. I got a bunch of case screws here. I don't need right now. And then these two I/O covers for the old motherboard. Don't need those right now. Oh, I'm killing my mic and just knocking shit everywhere. You know, it's a midnight Father's Day live stream. What would you expect? Dad's just gonna knock stuff all over the place. Okay, so what I need to do here is figure out how to mount this case fan in the front of this case. So there's like another set below. I didn't even realize it until I started getting in here and started to cut. So here, behind this like black piece of tape, this is just tape. It's some kind of like, you know, fascia. Here and here, there's another set of exactly what I just cut off of this and this. So I don't know if those were like intended to actually be standoffs. Like what if I just cut off the standoff? No, I did not. Unless they were like for 92 millimeter fans. I didn't cut anything off that this fan needed. For sure. That's way too big. So that's okay. That's not gonna keep me up at night. But this does have to be, unless I want to rip this tape off and cut two more tabs off. This has got to sit on top of this now, which is not like the end of the world, honestly. But it does make hole placement like a little bit more tricky. Okay. Yeah, it was never going to work between me and you, babe. Even with those old standoffs. So, this is what I want. The fan spins freely here. I think this is more or less the place, but the problem is, I don't know if you can see, but like this is not like conducive to fan screws holding anything in, and this is not a fan screw hole. So I wonder if I can so one screw there, one screw there. So I got 2 screw holes that I can get this fan into. Can I drop it down one? And maybe. So I'm going to do 2 screws. And this fan will sit ever so slightly cockeyed. It's going to be behind a fascia. I don't give a rat's ass if it's cockeyed or not. So let's see if I can make that happen. I just need 2 fan screws. And then we will be in business. Let's go over to my handy dandy fan screw emporium here. Uncle Mike's handy dandy fan screw emporium. Known to have all of your fan screw needs. We aim to please. We're a solutions oriented organization. Okay, so I got one here. Okay. And then I got one here. Let's see. Where can I get a hallelujah? Right here. And then that spins freely. And that should be drawing air in through this this front fascia, and that will be awesome. So let me get a screwdriver that I've got a bit more leverage with, which is trying to cut my hand off right now. My dear old 10-year-old, nearly 10-year-old Leatherman from Iraq. Is it a Leatherman or a Gerber? It's a Gerber from Iraq. Oh dear. So these screws don't that's never gonna work. The screw heads are too small for the holes. Alright. Okay. So duly noted. I need screws with slightly larger heads or some washers. I don't think I have any washers, and I'm fairly sure that these screws and the screw heads on them are more or less all the same. I have several sets. Maybe one of them has bigger screw heads. Those look ever so slightly bigger. You can try a couple of these just for S and G's, you know what I'm saying? No me entiendes? Malharanji, arayo. So let's cut this open. Actually, I can just test this before I even start screwing this into this damn fan. Does this go through here? It does. Too small. Too small. Too small. Son of a gun. I need some big ass screws. Damn it, man. Does this fit through that hole? So the standard screw size for the rest of the case is big enough to not fit through that hole. So I've got these. I don't even remember how you fit these things in through. I've got a couple of rubber fan stays. They're so hard to get started. Actually, I think I've only got the one. Man, that's super frustrating. So, looks like I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board, or I can refuse to admit surrender, and I can go with something a little bit more DIY, if you will. If I can find it. Where did my box of DIY goodness go? Probably dropped it on the floor like everything else. I'll be right back. This case is not going to defeat me tonight. Not on Father's Day Eve. Drinking my Father's Day beer. Oh. Right as I was getting ready to leave, I noticed what I was looking for was hiding under a graphics card. That's funny. Alright. So screws don't work. The immediate fallback plan is always, of course, ever and shall remain, zip ties. Zip ties work. Zip ties are good. I don't need it to be like hermetically sealed or anything. I just need this freaking fan to be in the place that I want it to be, with enough gumption to keep it there. Alright. Come on, guy. Come on. Back out that. Yes. Back out the neighboring hole. And one zip tie in place. I want you to go through two holes, my man, 2 holes. Yes. Get in there. Yep. Oh man, There's a fan in the front of this Dell XPS. It's in there, ladies and gents. Now, whether or not it does any good on the CPU and GPU temps will likely remain to be seen. Alright, so got these crazy hinge joints here. Gotta get this thing into, whoa, this thing is like no fun. Alright. Fan in. Fan spin. Yes, fan is spinning. You can hear it. You can kind of hear it tapping against my fingernail as it goes past. Fan in, fan spin. I like. Alright. So let's get the now the big thing is a 4-pin. It's a 4-pin header on this. I wonder if I can like put this on a CPU and have the CPU daisy chain off of this. Oh, that might be some pretty sick chicanery. I might actually love that idea. I might have already talked myself in to doing that thing right there. Alright. Zip tied fan in the front of a Dell XPS after I butchered the frame ever so slightly. Just a little bit of butchery, you know. I mean, nothing to get worked up about. For real. For realsies. It's fine. Okay. I'm going to put the power supply back in. Be cognizant of where the Wi-Fi cabling is also. Please don't pinch that and kill it. Okay. Yep, nice. And then, even though there is some like positive control of the power supply by tension mount, spring loaded, motherboard backplate, what have you, it's still got 4 screws to put in for the power supply retention. You know, better safe than sorry, I guess. Sorry, yeah. And one more for the power supply. Okay, power supply is in. I cannot get these Wi-Fi cables to stay out of the way for the life of me. I don't know why. Let's see. So this is what I'm using for the hard drive. So this is what I will use for the optical drive. Let's get it plugged back in. That's right. You should just go to your home. Are you too good for your home? Come on, guy. Get in there. There we go. Alright, optical drive is back. Let's get this motherboard back in place. I guess it's going to be fine the way it is. Ooh, man, lots of wires all over the place. It's never my favorite. Trying to put a motherboard in with wires all over the place. Come on, get over there. Get over it. Yep. Alright. Looks like everything's back in alignment there. So we will start putting all of these screws that are exactly the same back into their homes. So I never torque down the motherboard screws all the way until the last motherboard screw is in, and I always spin it counterclockwise first to listen to it catch the threads. So you'll hear, okay, listen. Let's see if I can catch this. You hear that? That was me spinning it backwards, right? I was spinning it away from the threads. And you hear that ka-chunk sound, so that you know that it's like in the thread groove. I'm telling you, especially on some of the cheap DIY cases, you will strip motherboard screws out so freaking fast if you don't do this. Spin it backwards first. You hear it? There it went. I'll do it again. Yep. One more time. Yep. Right there. As soon as you hear that little chunk, start spinning it forward. Spin it backwards. Lefty loosey until you hear that right there. Just that little click. And that lets you know that your screw has found the threads, found the thread opening, and it's ready to go. It is ready to go as soon as you hear that little click. Any more holes to get a screw into? Oh, yeah, one more. Oh dear. This is why you want a screwdriver with a magnetic head. You drop one of those little bad boys down in there, never fear. Alright, all the screws are in. Now, tighten them down. You want to watch and look and watch it make contact with the motherboard. Once you see it make contact with the motherboard, and you feel the tension tighten up, it's time to back off. Alright, Motherboard's back in. Power supply's back in. Gonna reroute all of our cabling here. Get the 4-pin CPU power. We got the 24-pin motherboard power. We got three-pin case fan header. We got audio jack going to the back. Actually, it's easier to do from front to back with these jacks here. So this is the USB 3. Actually, where's my, okay. Here's the power button. This is what I want because this is what's going on first. Front panel. Oh, it's kind of tricky. Alright, front panel's on. And then we've got USB 3 on. And then we got front USB 2 on. And then we've got audio out. I didn't talk about those much at the beginning of the stream because, say what now? It should be audio. Maybe not. Oh no, this is audio. This is audio here. Yep, that's audio. Yellow to yellow. So, grain to grain, front USB 2, right, front USB 3, yeah, that's in there, and then one more USB, there we go. Alright, now we're in, okay, everything is connected, plug in the SATA port for the optical drive here. If I can get it to find its home. And then hard drive. So this is what I was talking about when I mentioned earlier, maybe in another stream actually, about needing to offset the hard drive. Okay, typically when the hard drive cage was installed, remember, I'm not putting this back in. This is the hard drive cage that came with the computer. It would typically slide in behind this partition right here in this orientation, but if I put it in now, it's going to hit against this fan that we've got in here now. It's drawing all that nice cool air in. So I can't use the hard drive cage, so now we're limited to one 3.5 inch hard drive. We can put an additional hard drive in the top if we so desire in the future, right? Because we have this space is free and open. There's nothing in this space. This space has a CD-ROM drive. This space has nothing, and then this space right here only has two USB 2.0 ports, so you could replace this space also with something if you wanted to in the future. But I'm not doing any of that today. I'm simply going to use the original space that was allotted for a 3.5-inch hard drive, and originally it would slide into the hard drive tray, and these 4 screw holes here would line up with these 4 screw holes here. But because I cannot push it all the way in to get those 4 screw holes to line up, I'm just going to use these front 2, and I'm going to offset mount. Instead of having this hard drive go all the way back here, which it can no longer do, I'm going to offset mount it forward a little bit, which is fine. It's not hurting anything. It's not impeding airflow. It's not in the way of chassis wiring. It's not in the way of the GPU. Nothing. It just no longer has a hum inside the hard drive case because there is no hard drive case. So now you just got to very carefully find the first hole, get a screw started in there. It's pretty easy. And then find the second one, get a screw started in there, tighten that down there, tighten that down there. Boom, Bob's your uncle. Got a hard drive in this chassis, and a front 120 millimeter air intake fan. Now let's go find our GPU, take it out from underneath our iFixit kit. Thanks, Jay's 2 cents. Actually, let's get that cable out of the way. And so this cable needs to be down and low so that the GPU, so your SATA cable's got to go like down towards the motherboard and under this portion right here of the GPU. Before we get this bad boy in here, we do have some unfinished business with these dang old wireless or Wi-Fi connectors. Man, I hate these tiny little fragile things. They are literally the worst. There's one. There's 2. Man, that was way, way, way easier than the last time I tried to put those things back. I guess I got some good practice. Just gonna give a quick tighten to CPU cooler screws. Alright, those are all in there. RAM's all seated down in there. So again, slide GPU. It's a pretty tight fit. You got to get it under the chassis partition here, the chassis frame, and then slide it back towards the back of the motherboard. Get it over the PCIe slot. There it goes. Slide in your last, the other 2 PCIe slot covers. Man, this computer has like an inordinate amount of PCIe slot hardware. Like, why? Why is there like a cover for a cover for a cover? I don't understand. Dell. Early 2000s Dell. They didn't know what they were doing. Neither did most of us, honestly. They didn't know what we were doing, and we didn't know what they were doing. Okay. Okay. So close. Put this PCIe cover shield thing back in here. Man, get in there. You can do it. And yes. All right. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we are getting there. Now we're going to wire PCIe power to the GPU. 1 and 2. Now. Well, let me see if I can just like. So what I should have done was get this fan header through here before then, but it looks like the PC gods are gonna let me skate on that one. Alright. So man. This is a heavy son of a gun once it's all put together. Oh. Alright, so my front fan header, get out of the way, Sato, is a 4-pin PWM fan that splits to a 3-pin fan, like auxiliary power or whatever, secondary power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the stock Dell 4-pin PWM fan for the CPU cooler into the into the harness for that front fan. So this front fan and the CPU cooler should take signal from this 4-pin PWM coming off of the motherboard, which should mean they should both, if the CPU needs additional cooling, then the front fan and the CPU cooler simultaneously should ramp up. Now, whether or not that actually happens in practice remains to be seen. So we're going to get SATA power to our hard drive, and that should be the last connection. Voila, voici. We have a case modded, very light touch case mod, I will admit that freely, case modded Dell XPS that has a 120mm intake fan and a 92mm upgraded exhaust fan, a GTX 770 2 gig over the original GT 720, original to me anyway. I don't know what this PC came with straight from the factory, because I didn't buy it straight from the factory. And original hard drive, original motherboard, upgraded RAM, original i7 2600 non-K quad core. Gonna button it all up. Nice, 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 nice. I'm happy with that. That is like a good project. This has been a very productive video log live stream for me. I've really enjoyed working on this. I hope you have too. So I will probably do one more stream with this bad boy just to test out like what the thermals are after some prolonged gaming sessions, and see how the intake fan works out. And please, if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, hit the notification button so that you know when I'm live and when I'm going to be streaming, and you can follow along on all of my silly computer adventures. My name is Mike. This is Solid State Alchemy. I'm in my basement. I'm in the underbelly of the YouTube algorithm, and I'll catch you next time. I'm out.